Okay, might as well recap the Vikings game. Miserable as it was, I'm drained from this season. I got nothing left. I have nothing left for this 2023 NFL season. The whole season, not just the Vikings. Everything. Holding out some hope. Even if you holding out some hope tonight, Denver playing completely non-competitive against the Lions. So you know the Lions are going to be 3 up with 3 to play. So sets up perfectly because now next week they'll come up here and probably clinch the division against the Vikings. Because in this season from hell we ain't escaping that indignity. Um, this has just been a hellish NFL season. It's torture. It's torture. I can't think of another Viking season that's been this constant with just pain and just the what if, what might have been the whole season. It's just I don't know. I feel like that's a topic for a few weeks from now when the season is over. And make no mistake, the Vikings are not making the playoffs. I would if I were a betting man, I would bet money on that. They're not making the playoffs. They're in the playoffs right now, but they're not going to make the playoffs. Although I can pretty much guarantee they will have a chance to make the playoffs, maybe even a good chance going into Week 18, because that's what this season is. It's all about the tease. It's all about the what could be, but it never is. So it makes perfect sense to go into Week 18 still alive, but it's not going to happen. This game today, a lot of the same shit as all year. Turnovers, like doesn't seem to matter who's under center. You know, we have stupid, crazy turnovers. We have really bad situational play calling. We have really bad defensive breakdowns at the worst possible times. Other teams are always hitting crazy, fluky plays on us. I mean, we controlled this game for 3 quarters, for almost three. It was just first play of the fourth quarter is when they got their first touchdown, and the Vikings completely controlled the game. But it's only 7-3 at the half. Why? Because turnovers. Because Nick Mullins throws a terrible interception at the goal line, and then that just ghastly one that he threw, being sacked, he throws it right into the hands of a defender. Like the easiest interception that guy's ever going to have. Both of those were well within field goal range. Now you can't always assume that Gray Joseph will make the kick, but you know, that's 6 points you just pissed away in a game that went to overtime. It's all season. Every one of these losses has been so close, and we've turned the ball over like fucking idiots. And every one of them, every one of these losses, we just turn the ball over. So yeah, that was. It was good in the first half. Ty Chandler was excellent. Finally, Ty Chandler gets to step out from the unworthy shadow of Alexander Madison, and he was awesome. 130 yards, had a couple real big runs. He's running back one. He is, and it's going to be infuriating if Madison is back next week, and Madison's the one getting 20 carries again. I will not tolerate that bullshit. He was great, and for everything that happened with Mullins, Mullins was clearly the right choice to be in there quarterback, because you could tell he could actually throw a ball downfield. He could actually run an offense. He was a fucking moron a few times, but there were a lot of plays in that game, a lot of throws. Dobbs ain't making those throws. He's just not. Jaron Hall, maybe, I don't know. But again, it doesn't fucking seem to matter who's in there. We're just gonna turn the ball over. This is just what this team is. I think I heard they have already set the team record for the most turnovers in the season with 3 games to go. Unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. and we've got 7 one-score losses. I mean, they should have 4 or 5 more wins easily if they could just get out of their own fucking way. But then they come out in third quarter, boom, boy, they're firing. Mullins turned into Joe Montana for a little while. Like, he was just firing, making great throws, and that there was an element of luck certainly in that touchdown to Addison, but that was a really good catch. And that's what you give a guy a chance to make a really good play. Dobbs certainly wasn't doing that. Mullins at least did that, on occasion in this game. And then you're up 14-3. Then you get the Caleb Evans pick. Yeah, you only cash in for 3, but you're up 17-3. Your offense is mostly moving the ball, and your defense is playing really well again. And then, just an implosion, the likes of which we haven't seen. I mean, I literally saw a stat. The Vikings hadn't lost a game in like 30 years when they were up by 14 or more in the fourth quarter, which is surprising. That's actually kind of surprising that it's been that long, but because 14 isn't necessarily a lot, but it reminded me of 1994, Vikings at Patriots. The Vikings were riding high going into that game. That was a much better overall team than this team, but they had a really great defense. Tony Dungy defense. They were up there. They were up there, right there with the best teams in the NFC. Their defense was awesome. They were up like 20-0 at halftime, and then they just imploded against Drew Bledsoe. That was Drew Bledsoe's second year. He caught fire, and he just lit them up the whole second half. I think at the time he threw for might have been an NFL record for completions in a game. Went to OT, and then he threw a winning touchdown to walk. It was just an absolute implosion by the defense. I got those vibes from this game today because I don't know what happened. I don't know what specifically happened. It didn't. I mean, they obviously pass pressure was not good in this game at all, but they weren't covering either. I mean, after it went 17-3, the defense just left the building. They left the stadium. They were gone because it was not competitive from that point on. Let them go right down the field. We go 3 and out because, of course, we do, because we never don't go 3 and out in those situations. Give the ball back. They actually get in a 3rd and 21 with a grounding call. So it's like, okay, here, you got 3rd and 21, stop it. And we give up a wide open conversion. It wasn't even close. It was just an easy pitch and catch, first down. Then we get him in a 4th and goal. Because, of course, this is what this season is. We can't just give up the touchdown. We always have to have the tease that we're not going to do something bad. And what did we do? We get into 4th and goal, and then Ivan Pace, of all people, kind of misses on a tackle, and they score, and it's tied. But then we also have to get the tease of, well, maybe we're going to rebound from this blown lead by going and retaking control and winning the game. And we go down the field. We get the where it looks like Mullins throws a pick 6. Guy was obviously offsides. I saw a couple of people saying, "Oh, this is just like the play with the Chiefs last week." It's like, well, it is. I mean, the fact that it was a correct call to call it. How could you call in that situation? Because the guy was blatantly offsides. They missed a couple others earlier in the game where guys were offsides and they didn't call it. But that gets called back. Pick 6 gets called back. We zip down the field. Ty Chandler breaks off that great run to the 1. We get that crazy play from the 1 where I don't know what Nick Mullins was thinking. He throws back across the field, but Addison makes the play. I mean, sometimes you just need a receiver to bail out a quarterback. Um, and certainly the guys, the receivers today, they were bailing out, bailing out the quarterback because in defense of Josh Dobbs got no help from his receiving core the last couple games. Um, so, 24-17. Hey, we're leading again, but it's just a tease because of course it's a tease. We have to, maybe we can, put the hammer down now. But that defense was gone. They were just done. And for all the accolades that this defense has gotten recently, and Flores deserves a ton of credit for what he's been able to whip this defense into. This is 3 times in 4 games that his defense has completely choked at the end of a game. And obviously, in this case, they were worse the whole fourth quarter. But I mean, they've choked, and that play, it was a crazy acrobatic play for the tying touchdown. That ball needs to be intercepted. It just needs to be intercepted. It was over. That was over. This one was over Evans today, and they showed it on the replay. You don't really notice it in real time. Mekhi Blackman is literally just standing there. He's standing there like a couple feet away, just looking at the play. Go up and help. These passes need to be intercepted. It's the same thing that cost us the end of the game against Denver. There should have been an interception in the end zone to beat Denver, and we don't make the play. This should have been the second time this year that we make an interception on a jump ball to end a game and get a win, and we didn't make either one. You could add that into the one back in the Charger game where we got I forget who it was, made the leap to make an interception. The ball clangs off his hands into the Chargers receiver's hands for a touchdown. This is the season. This is 2023. Game should have been over. Instead, it's tied, and the defense has completely melted down. I mean, they given up 1 touchdown in 3 3/4 games, and then they gave up 3 in a quarter in completely non-competitive fashion. These were not even competitive defensive series. So go to OT, we lose the toss. I'm like, okay, that's it. We're gonna lose because there's no way the defense is gonna stop. But of course, it can never be that easy. There's always got to be the tease that maybe something will actually go our way. We get the sack, and then we get the incomplete deep ball where they thought it was interference, but it wasn't called, and I don't think it was interference. I think it was just 2 guys going for the ball. Would have been a terrible call to make. And we get the ball back, and here we go. We're driving. No, I mean, it wasn't much of a drive, but we're maybe like 1 first down away from being able to think field goal, game-winning field goal. And everyone's been talking about it. I listening to the post-game show. Everybody's talking about, even more than the defense, they're talking about the 2 quarterback sneaks. We tried the fucking tush push. It was, I've never seen 2. I've probably seen worse individual quarterback sneaks. I've never seen worse ones back to back. Never. Because the first one, Mullins takes the ball and he goes sideways. Go forward. Whatever you're doing, go forward. Even if you have to go up, go forward. And the next one, he stumbles the second he gets the snap, and they had no chance. And I was mentioned after, I didn't really notice in real time. You have Brandon Powell, spindly little Brandon Powell, your little slot receiver, punt returner, behind the quarterback. I'm pretty sure there's some bigger guys on the team you should have. And KOC said something in the post game about they had certain personnel out there because they didn't want the Bengals to be able to adjust. It's a quarterback sneak, man. It's the simplest play in football. And you're trying to get cute with personnel? I'm really trying not to be reactionary about Kevin O'Connell because I don't doubt for 1 second that he is a good coach as far as leading a team. But when it comes to clutch decision making and clutch play calling, he is horrible. And he has not gotten any better. And he was not good at a lot of this stuff last year either, especially the short yardage plays. There's so many short yardage plays last year where he was, I don't know what was going through his brain on some of the things he dreamt up. He's gotten no better at that this year. You expect rookie head coach, okay, he's going to improve like a player is improving. He hasn't improved. He's terrible this year. He's terrible at it again. He's getting no better. I mean, it's almost 2 full seasons. He's no better. Like, I don't even have a problem with the QB sneak if you want to do that. But if you're going to do a tush push, why is like the skinniest player on your fucking team the guy pushing your quarterback? Like, it's nonsensical. And why, and of course there's certainly an argument for why aren't you giving the ball to Ty Chandler, who's just put up, the best game from a running back that we've had this whole season. I don't get it. Where's CJ Ham? Does CJ Ham exist anymore? He's a really good player, and he almost never gets to do anything anymore. It's so fucking frustrating, man, because, and then you turn it over at downs, it's like it's over. But it's not, because, again, here's the tease. We get him in a 3rd and long. Maybe if we stop him here, maybe we'll get the ball back one more time and have one more chance. I mean, I don't even know what a tie would have done for our playoff stuff today. Obviously, I'd rather have had a tie than a loss, but, and we flush Browning, and then, of course, he completes a pass downfield in between 2 guys. And not only does he complete the pass, but we let the fucking guy go for an extra 15 or 20 yards into chip shot field goal range, and that's the game. I'm sorry. Like, I give Brian Flores lots of credit for what he's done with his defense, because I don't, he's they've overachieved. There's talent there, but it doesn't have like elite defense talent. But his defense is absolutely fucking choked 3 times in 4 games, and not to the greatest of teams. I mean, let's face it. Denver was on a run there for a while, but Russell Wilson ain't what he used to be. Justin Fields, I mean, come on. That was absolutely embarrassing what we let happen against the Bears. I don't care what the offense did to not support the defense. I'm sorry. Fuck that shit. You're facing this level of quarterback play. Fucking stop them. I don't care if you have to stop them 3-4 times. Stop them. And then this game, they just melted down. That was what, 4 of the last 5 drives were completely non-competitive against Jake Browning. And I know Jake he's played pretty well, but give me a fucking break. He's not Patrick Mahomes or somebody. It's not okay that you choke at the end of games like this against this level of competition. I mean, for God's sakes, flip one of those games and you're basically a lock for the playoffs. Instead, you choked all 3, and yeah, there's lots of blame to go around. There's blame for the defense. There's blame for the quarterbacks. There's blame for play calling. There's blames for turnovers. There's blames for lots of stuff, but it's whatever it takes for this team to lose a game. It's happening. I mean, they've scraped and clawed, and somehow they're 7-7. And that's why I'm not totally ready to just join in on the pitchfork crowd against Kevin O'Connell, and I think it would be stupid anyway. I mean, for God's sakes, the guy's 20-11 as a head coach. I mean, come on. Well, 20-12 if you count the playoffs, but that's a good record. But these games are being kicked away that shouldn't be kicked away, and it's week 15, and a lot of these things are the same problems that we've been having since week 1. Way back in week 1, when we blew a home game to a Tampa Bay team that we shouldn't have lost to, kicked away a game at home to a bad Chargers team, obviously kicked away a home game to a bad Bears team, lose a game where you don't even give up a fucking touchdown. can't do this anymore. Like, even the good stuff from this season gets ruined. Kirk's playing some of the best football of his entire career, tears his Achilles. Justin Jefferson, fantastic start to the year, hurts his hammy, misses half the season. We get Dobbs mania for a couple weeks. It comes crashing down like nothing I've ever seen before. The defense, almost our savior, melts down 3 times in the last 4 games right at the end, and absolutely just non-competitive garbage today. And the only hope is that that it was just like a bad quarter, and not that something's been figured out. Because if this defense is going to go in the tank now, I mean, they're 7-10. They're not going to win another game. It's just draining and just hope squelching as it is for a fan to watch. These players have got to just be banging their heads against the wall. Like, what more is going to happen? What's next? I guess we didn't have any serious injuries today. That's about the only thing that didn't happen today. We've had major injuries in every game. At least that didn't happen today. And I fucking turned off the goddamn football game. I'm so disgusted. What are they up to now here? 2010. Oh, great. Denver got a field goal. I'm sure that's gonna really help. Fucking assholes. Fuck you, Denver. So we wouldn't have been playing for first place. There was a chance if we win today and Detroit lost that the game next week would be for first place. That wouldn't have happened now anyway, but now we of course have to be afraid of suffering the indignity of the Detroit Lions clinching the NFC North on our home field, which, given what this season has been, doesn't that just fucking feel inevitable? It feels like, of course that's going to happen. But I guarantee it, if it does happen, it's not going to happen in a blowout. It's going to happen in a game where we get teased that we're going to win, that we're going to get a nice big win, only to have it stripped away from us in some fluky bullshit or a call or whatever. It's just draining. I mean, I've experienced some really just soul-crushing losses, and obviously like NFC Championship game losses. Like we're talking about a whole season. It just won't let up. This 2023 season just will not let up with the torture and pain and frustration and the what ifs. It just won't stop. And there's no reason to think it's going to stop in the last 3 weeks either. I mean, the absolute nightmare scenario is we lose to Detroit next week and watch them clinch the division, and then we lose to Green Bay on New Year's Eve and watch them, I don't know if that would eliminate us or not, or get them into the playoffs for sure or whatever, but like that would be like the nightmare scenario. But I'm sure the way this season has been, we're going to go into week 18 with a chance, maybe even a good chance for the playoffs, maybe even into the fourth quarter. It's still going to be a possibility, and then we're going to just rip our fucking heart out with some horrible turnover or some crazy fluke play that the other team makes or some call or whatever. Because that's what this season has been. This season has been hell. And there's been some highlights, but the highlights have not been worth everything else. And even most of the highlights have turned bad. Like the win against the 49ers. Well, all I think about when I think about that game is what happened to Kirk after that. This would be a Super Bowl contending team with Kirk Cousins under center. People pretended for years that he was a problem. No, he was actually a major asset and a great quarterback. And yeah, they won a couple games without him, but they've also lost games that they wouldn't have lost with him, especially playing the way he was playing. and the NFC is there to be had, and we're not going to take it. This isn't going to be a fucking Super Bowl team. I mean, there's no chance of that. Even if we get in the playoffs, this is going to be a Super Bowl team. And I'm not one of these people who's like, there's no value in making the playoffs. I think making the playoffs, sneaking into the playoffs with everything that's gone against this franchise this year, I think that would be a legitimately, an admirable accomplishment. I really do. Even if you went one and done, but it's not going to happen because we don't get the payoff. We don't even get like the little payoff to make it all worth it. Just to get in the playoffs, it makes it all worth it. Not one of these people who's like, if you don't go to the Super Bowl, your whole season is a failure, and you would have been better off going 0-17. I'm not one of these people. And I'm seeing the tank Nazis out there too, being like, oh, why did we go and win all these games? Now we're not going to get a court. Just shut the fuck up, you assholes. I'm dreading the off season of having to hear from these people. You want to get a fucking quarterback, then you can get your fucking quarterback. Just shut up. So just a brutal game. These losses this year have been brutal, just absolutely brutal. I mean, I don't know if I can rank them. I mean, like this Bears and Chargers are like top three. Those are like those might be three of like the 10 most gut wrenching losses in recent memory that I can remember, at least in the regular season. Just absolutely, just tear your fucking heart out. Well, see what happens. I mean, Detroit's on their way to a win, so they're going to be 3 up, and they're going to be coming in here next week, primed and ready to win a division for the first time in 30 years. We can let that happen. We can let that happen on our home field. I would hope this fucking team can show some pride and not let that happen. I mean, Detroit's going to win the division, but don't let them do it on our turf. If we get the playoffs, we might even end up going there. But I'm dreading it. I'm absolutely dreading it. It's going to be. It just feels inevitable. It feels like inevitable that that's what's going to happen, because it's the logical next bit of torture for this team and this fan base this year, because it's just what 2023 has been. It's just been a season from hell, where even the good things are short-lived and taken away. There's still 3 weeks of this to go, but I'm almost dreading what's going to still happen. We'll see what happens with some of these other games over the weekend. In the playoff race, I believe we're guaranteed to at least still be the 6th seed by the end of the week, for whatever that's worth. But of course, this was a loss to an AFC team, less damaging in tiebreakers, obviously, but those are done now. Those are out now. We've got nothing but division games left, so they all mean more. We gotta win them. If they don't win at least 2 of these games, forget it. And one of those 2 is almost has to be Green Bay. Can they win 2 out of? Can they win 2 out of 3? I mean, they get out of their own fucking way. They can, but it just doesn't seem like that's ever going to happen. We're 15 weeks in. It's never happened. But what Packers are playing Tampa, Rams I think are playing Washington. The Rams are going to win that. I think Seattle's playing Philly, so Seattle might lose. Saints are playing somebody. I think the Saints are playing the Giants, so maybe good old Tommy DeVito will get that one. Obviously, we just want as few teams equaling us with 7 wins as possible. But at this point, it feels pointless to do scoreboard watching. It just feels like it's never going to turn out right in this season. I mean, it's just this fucking franchise just so often feels cursed, and I don't know that there's been a whole season that has felt this cursed before. They've certainly had worse teams, but I don't think I've ever seen a full season, week 1 till now, as cursed as this, because it's just never stopped. Um, maybe he'll flip. We seem to have a lot of good fortune last year. We're having none this year. You know, we'll see what happens. But you know, I don't personally have a lot left to give to this NFL season. I'm just all I got left is thin hope that the Vikings still making it the playoffs, and that in the playoffs, well, certainly Detroit and maybe Green Bay take embarrassing L's. That's about all I got left.